Welcome to Movie Bitches, episode 107. Tonight we are reviewing Nerve. This is the new Dave Franco.
It's the new nepotism movie starring Dave Franco and Emma Roberts. Because, like, Dave Franco is James Franco's brother, and, like, Emma Roberts is Julia Roberts' niece.
Didn't know that.
Emma Roberts is Eric Roberts' daughter. You know who Eric Roberts is? Oh my god, he's in, like, so many terrible bad movies.
The premise of this movie is that there's a new game that hits New York City.
Yep.
Where it's like truth or dare without the truth. So it's just dares. And you can get paid money to do these dares.
Yeah. You're a watcher or you're a player.
Exactly. And the crazier the dare, the more money you get to do it.
Yeah.
And the more watchers you get, the higher you rise in these ranks.
The whole time I kept thinking, oh, this is sort of making, like, Orwellian commentary, and, like, if a more interesting filmmaker who was trying to make a real movie made this movie, it might be really good.
Bingo.
Right? Like, it could be like Videodrome, you know, where it's like, ooh, this is really good. Or even Running Man that's, like, silly, but this was like Running Man. That's what it was like. It's like a Schwarzenegger movie that's like, we're going to kill each other and people are going to watch.
Basically.
I think Richard Dawson is in it.
I mean, so what's interesting, this movie made me want to read the book. Not really, but like, more so.
It made me want someone better to make this movie. Like if the guy who did Drive did this movie.
Right.
Fuck yes.
Oh, that would have been really good.
Like, right? Like, make it gritty and fucked and, like, real and, like, have a sick soundtrack and, like, yes.
Which brings me to another problem that I had.
Okay.
So the soundtrack to this movie, I'm pretty sure was just, like, auto-populated by Spotify.
Yeah, it was just Spotify. Like, it changes every time you watch the movie. And, like, every different theater, depending on where you are in the country, is a different top 20.
Some of them were good songs, but it was, like, lazy. I mean, whoever got paid to do that, shit. That was the job of a lifetime. Jesus.
You think they got paid that much for this movie?
Sure. I bet you he got paid $100,000 to, like, do the soundtrack.
Sure.
And literally, he spent 6 hours on Spotify being like, yeah, that song will work.
You know, why are you assuming it's a he?
Because it's basic. That's why. Because if it was a woman, she'd been fired and paid 70 cents on the dollar. That's why. I liked a lot of the social commentary that it was making.
Yeah.
Well, trying to make. About, you know, people and youth and our phones and popularity and Snapchat numbers and Vine followers and all of this.
It wasn't dark enough to make those commentaries more interesting.
No. It was pretty shallow.
Yeah.
This movie wasn't even as dumb as it was shallow.
Well, it starts and it's
Who directed this? I want to know if it's the same director as Unfriended. Because
so like literally this movie started and I was like, are we watching Unfriended? It's like, we're so cool, we're showing her screen. And then freaking the first 5 seconds she gets accepted into Cal Arts, my alma mater. And I was like, oh, of course you would get into Cal Arts. It's like, oh my god, I take pictures and I love Virginia Woolf. And To the Lighthouse is like my favorite book. And I was like, fuck you. No.
No.
That book is boring. Then, I'm just going to go on a tangent.
Go on it.
Then, Dave Franco is reading To the Lighthouse. And I was like, bullshit. Turns out it was. Somebody gave it to him to impress her. Then, she gets a tattoo of a lighthouse. That's how much she likes To the Lighthouse. For me, the first 30 was just like a stupid high school movie.
But it was like the worst. Well, look at how hip we are. See how we use computers and phones and tweeting?
I don't know. I've yet to see a movie that makes this generation, like, that gets it.
Yes.
That shows phones and digital medium and Facebook and Snapchat and Twitter in a way that I'm not like, this is out of date, or this is out of touch, or this seems lame.
It's going to be really hard. I think we're going to see
I don't know what movie is going to be the Clueless of this generation, right?
Right.
Where Clueless got it. The directors of this movie also directed Catfish, which I find fascinating because, say what you will about Catfish, I saw it completely blind, no idea, literally thought it could be about catfishing.
Right, like...
and was like, what the fuck, right? And it had so many interesting comments on this generation, and it did such a better job. I mean, it's a documentary. So, like, it could be more naturalistic about how they interacted with the digital media and all this stuff, but, like, that makes this even worse somehow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because Catfish was interesting.
It was interesting.
I mean, it was.
I remember really liking it when I watched it, and then the more that I thought about it, and the more, like, bullshit it really seemed, the more I hated it.
Well, it was a conversation starter. But what about this? You think that was faked? Fuck! But that meant this? What? Like,
sure.
Hate what you love. The movie felt like it was trying to placate that generation by being like, aren't we cool? But also didn't want to fully damn them and like, comment on it.
Right.
So my basic problem with this movie is it was two movies.
Sure.
It started as a digital teen rom-com.
Sure.
Couldn't you see this movie just being Nick and Nora's infinite playlist of I dare you this, I dare you this, we're in love at the end, but it takes a hard left.
Yeah. Yeah.
Turns into, like, Battle Royale, Most Dangerous Game.
Conspiracy theory, like, whatever.
The Net.
Yeah. The Net is fabulous.
Oh my god, I love The Net. But The Net is, like, a straight-up, like, homage to Hitchcockian thrillers.
Right.
That happens to be about the internet.
This movie tries to do, like, they're like, oh, the dark web, and like, oh, you know, whatever.
There was just a lot of, like, of course she has a friend who's a hacker, and he's like, I spend a lot of time on the dark web. And I was like, just really? I don't know that everyone just, like, knows a hacker friend.
Right.
And that seems like a trope that's annoying to me.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I've got this nerd ball friend.
Who can save the day.
Save the day. And it's like, Juliette Lewis is her mom. And I was like, you're here. And then she was, like, barely in the movie. And then...
Barely in the movie. Which I was fine with.
It was weird because, like, things are happening.
What do I know her from?
Lots of stuff.
Okay.
The Other Sister comes to mind. She's in it, and things are happening to her daughter that she's like, you know, like, spoilers at the end, like, she thinks her daughter is dead. And she's like, oh my god! And then it's like a fake out, and she's not, and she's like, you guys are so good at hacking. And I was like, no.
No. They were trying to make a point.
What was the point they were trying to make?
The point was that, like, everyone is anonymously contributing to this kind of, like, voyeuristic, hate-filled, like, anonymous commentary online thing, right?
And we're all sort of, like, freely giving our privacy away.
Yes.
But, like, this movie wasn't deep enough. It alienated the audience it was trying to get.
No, I disagree, and here's why.
If you're 17...
This movie is really deep.
Wait, you might be right.
If you're 17, this movie is like, oh, fuck.
You think people left the theater like, oh, shit, y'all. No. But are they also going to be like, but all that shit led to true love?
Probably.
It was a very basic, silly, base level, short,
fun, silly.
Just like, and it's over.
That's
okay.
I would maybe watch it again.
I don't think I would. Can we talk about how? So the first half hour, which you hated.
Yes.
Is like, high school, oh my god, I'm a nerd, I take photos, I read to the lighthouse. And she's like in love with this guy who's like the quarterback on the football team, who's clearly a homosexual.
Clearly.
And then he's making out with her best friend, and you're like,
But like, don't you want to hook up with that dude?
But I feel like you want to hook up with that dude. And wouldn't it have been even more progressive of this movie if he was gay and he hooked up with the nerd friend or whatever it needed to happen?
Or if it was like a dare and then he found out he was gay.
Ooh, that's why I'm not your type. You don't like women. The plot was so basic. It's still like a hetero couple of a blonde white lady and a brunette white guy who are falling in love, and like, isn't that interesting? Not particularly, but you know, it was fine. No. They were both charismatic enough. Dave Franco's pretty hot. Hotter than his brother.
Yes. Well, he doesn't look like a meth addict. Oh, you know what I would like to have seen in this role? The guy from Tron.
Garrett Hedlund, who I think should be really famous.
He really should be.
Don't get me wrong, Pan was a disaster. We can all move on from that.
Wait, that's the same guy?
That's the same guy.
Oh, wait, how come he seems so much older now? I guess Tron was a while ago.
Tron was a while ago, but no, Garrett Hedlund is hot. They all have laptops, but they seem to be touchscreen. So was it like that Windows thing where like it's like basically an iPad, but it has a keyboard? She definitely logged into a Mac.
Here, I'm going to get computer nerdy for just a minute.
Do it.
So, the movie starts with and then it like goes into her desktop and it goes like, which is not a noise that a Mac makes.
The interface was Mac though.
Yes. And then she just starts tapping things. There's no such thing as like a touchscreen Mac. It's not her iPad.
Oh yeah, no, it's not a thing. I do want to talk about that I happened to find her extensions very distracting. Did you?
I didn't notice them, no.
Second she took her hair down, I was like, nope.
I did notice that her eyebrows didn't match her hair, and it drove me crazy.
I think that was like a choice.
I know, but it was annoying.
Sure.
I hate that.
When people have extensions and they don't do them, they look a mess. And I was like, she's in a movie. Why is this happening? I get it. She's from Staten Island. She's just a regular girl. But then why does she have extensions?
She doesn't have any money. How'd you pay for those extensions, girl?
How'd you pay for that Mac that miraculously has a touchscreen? I don't know.
It needed to be more fucked up.
I wish that it had, like the net goes to, like, insano level, right? I wish it had gone insane. But this movie was attached to being a love story.
Right.
And it wasn't enough of a love story for me to give a shit.
Not really.
So I wanted it to go bananas.
Well, especially because I still never trusted him. They put enough distrust in him and his motives to, like, be like, oh, but, like, oh,
So they kind of touch on this whole drone thing, but I think that would have been way more interesting if all the watchers are creepy
and control their own drones
who are in their apartments because that's where this is going, and they're controlling the drones and watching them, and they're forcing them to be outside. That would have been such a more interesting commentary, right? If it's just a sea of drones watching them trying to shoot themselves. How much more interesting is that?
They really wanted this, like, anonymous masked gladiator, like, Fall of Rome bullshit to be a thing.
That's not what it is anymore. It is, I'm hiding behind my computer screen.
If you're expecting a real deep commentary on, society and the state and digital age, you're not going to get it.
No.
If you're expecting a fun, silly movie that involves those things,
yes,
then you'll get a little bit of that.
Yeah.
I can't say it was bad. I can't say I didn't have fun in this movie.
I can't say it was good.
I also cannot say that it was a great movie.
No. This movie was perfectly entertaining.
Sure.
It tried to be a rom-com. It tried to be a thriller. It kind of failed at both. But
it succeeded in aspects of both as well.
It succeeded at being a short, fun movie.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they just fucking killed it because that's what these people do.
Yeah.
They don't have any sense of subtlety or taste or restraint.